A few facts about the TS Power Plant. It cost approximately $633 million to construct. PRB coal is delivered in 130-car trains, a total of 15,000 tons, by Union Pacific Railroad. We burn 2,700 tons of coal per day at full load. That's 1.9 tons per minute. The boiler produces 1.4 million pounds of steam per hour at 1,050 degrees Fahrenheit and 2,450 psi. The steam turbine produces 350,000 horsepower to drive the generator. The Toshiba generator contains 56 tons of copper. We produce 203 megawatts of electrical power net. Our plant emissions control system significantly reduces every emission except carbon dioxide and water vapor. As a visitor or vendor entering the TS Power Plant, you may be exposed to some of the hazards that exist at any coal-fired power plant. In order to make your visit a safe one, we'd like to introduce you to some of our policies and procedures designed to protect you as a visitor at our site. Safety is a core value and is committed to performing our work in the safest manner possible. We protect the safety of our customers, the general public, and ourselves. We work together to continuously improve safety processes. We promote safety as a core value to others on and off the job. We take responsibility for our own personal safety, follow all safety-related rules and procedures, and remain mindful of the safety of others. At the TS Power Plant, we believe that all occupational injuries and illnesses, property damage, loss of process, and harm to the environment can be prevented. Each of you must perform your job in the safest manner possible and conduct yourself in a way that enhances your own personal safety and that of your fellow workers. Reporting all accidents and incidents, in addition to correcting and making suggestions for the control of workplace hazards, will contribute to the overall success of our safety program. Remember, your contribution is vital to our operation, and we want your visit here to be safe and productive. Now let's review the general safety and health guidelines that everyone must comply with at all times. When you arrive at the TS Power Plant, please use the intercom system and tell the control room your business at the TS Power Plant and who your TSPP contact person is. Do not follow someone else through the gate without talking to the control room operator. TS Power Plant site safety orientation is required prior to site access or working at the TS Power Plant. TS Power Plant site safety orientation is required annually. After completing the TS Power Plant site safety orientation and discussing the work to be performed with your TSPP contact person, you may then proceed to the TS Power Plant control room for required permits such as Safe Work Permit, Hot Work Permit, Confined Space Permit, or to sign on to a lockout/tagout for the equipment you may be working on. Please obey all traffic signs posted and park in designated areas only. Speed limit is 10 miles per hour. Use of seat belts is required at the TS Power Plant. Pedestrians and heavy equipment have the right-of-way. Drive on paved roadways. No smoking except in authorized areas. 10 miles per hour is the maximum speed limit and may need to be reduced even further when conditions such as congested areas, bad road conditions, or weather create an increased hazard. This policy does not cover every situation that may occur while driving at the TS Power Plant. Each person must use good judgment and drive safely according to the present conditions. Please be aware of all speed limits and traffic control signs in your area. Slow down and save a life. The TS Power Plant is a drug-free workplace, and illegal drugs and alcohol are not permitted on the property. All employees, contractors, and visitors at TSPP are subject to drug and alcohol testing. No person who is under the influence of alcohol or drugs will be allowed to enter the TSPP, and law enforcement officials will be notified. You must report to your supervisor the use of any prescription or non-prescription medicine that may affect your ability to safely perform your work or operate mobile equipment. Smoking is allowed only in designated areas, outside the front gate, on the west side of the water treatment building by the neutralization tank, and between the maintenance shop and the warehouse at the north end of the administration building. Do not throw cigarette butts on the ground. Use butt cans that are provided. Do not litter our power plant. Use the trash cans that are provided. No pets will be allowed on the property or confined in your vehicle. No one under the age of 18 will be allowed without the consent of TSPP management. No firearms or dangerous weapons are permitted, with the exception of law enforcement personnel in the performance of their duty. The use of cameras, electronic imaging equipment, or audio recording devices is not allowed without the express approval from management. Your safety and well-being begins with the proper personal protective equipment you must wear during your visit to the TS Power Plant. The minimum PPE required while working at the TS Power Plant include a hard hat, safety glasses with side shields, and hard-toed boots. If you're in an area such as designated office areas, control rooms, lab areas, or in break rooms where PPE is not normally required but are working, then PPE is required. Hearing protection is required where sound pressure levels, that's noise, exceed 85 dBA when working around loud mobile equipment or any other situation where damaging noise levels may occur. Generally, sound pressure levels at the TS Power Plant are less than 85 dBA, with the exception of the boiler building ground floor close to the boiler feed water pumps, roll wheel pulverizers, and AB fan trains, which tend to be greater than 90 dBA depending on plant load. Hearing protection is required when working in these areas. However, sound pressure levels can vary depending on plant operations. A good rule of thumb to follow is if you need to raise your voice to carry on a conversation, you should be wearing hearing protection. Earplugs or muffs will be made available by your employer or by your TSPP representative. Earplugs may be found in many locations throughout the plant. Protective clothing may be required when working in various areas at the TS Power Plant. Tyvek coveralls are required when working inside the furnace or flue gas ducts. Acid suits, slickers are required when working with acid or caustic chemical at the TS Power Plant. Truck unloading or working in containment areas, regardless of the time required to do the job, requires the use of chemical goggles, chemical face shields, rubber boots, chemical gloves, and acid-proof clothing. Appropriate clothing must also be worn when working at the TS Power Plant. All trousers must have full-length legs. Sleeveless shirts, tank top shirts, and shorts are not allowed unless worn under coveralls. Respiratory protection may be required in certain areas at the TS Power Plant. The furnace boiler flue gas path areas have been tested for the presence of mercury and arsenic. Although the results indicate that they're below OSHA action level at this time, it's strongly recommended that for any work performed inside the furnace, boiler, flue gas handling system, or ash handling systems, that half-mask respirators with particulate cartridges be worn. Any work on the aqueous ammonia system requires the use of respirators. If you have any questions or concerns about the proper level of respiratory protection required, check with your supervisor or a TSPP representative. Hard hats meeting the requirements of ANSI Z89.1 are required at all times except for designated office areas, control rooms, lab areas, or in break rooms. Hard hats shall be in good condition. Safety glasses with side shields meeting the requirements of ANSI Z87 are required at all times, except for designated office areas, control rooms, or in break rooms. hard-toed safety boots meeting the requirements of ANSI Z41 with a minimum 6-inch tall boot upper. No safety tennis or business shoes are required at all times except for designated office areas, control rooms, or in break rooms. High visibility clothing, reflective vests, are required when working on the coal pile. Fall protection is required whenever you're working above 6 feet off the ground or if there's a chance of falling from heights. The TS Power Plant requires 100% tie-off using a full body harness and a twin-leg lanyard at all times when working at heights. Should you require advanced fall protection equipment, such as horizontal lifelines or self-retracting lifelines, please contact the TS Power Plant control room. The maintenance mechanics are skilled at setting up advanced fall protection systems and will be able to assist you. Face shields are required whenever the work process produces flying particles such as grinding or high-speed cutting, or working around strong chemicals, acids or caustics, or other hazards that could cause eye injuries. Welding, cutting, and grinding, as well as other hot work processes, require the use of welding leathers, jackets, face shields, welding helmets or shaded face shields, and respiratory protection. Electrical work above 480 volts AC requires the use of electrical arc flash rated equipment and suits. Finally, do not forget to wear your gloves to protect your hands when working at the TS Power Plant. PPE is not required when traveling from the parking area at the beginning and end of shift. Whenever using PPE, always ensure that it's clean and in good repair, and that the PPE you're using provides the protection required. All TSPP employees have been trained in first aid, CPR, AEDs, and the use of fall protection equipment. First aid kits, AEDs, and biological cleanup kits are located in the administration lunchroom, along with a large medical bag with oxygen, the TS Power Plant control room, also with a large medical bag with oxygen, the mechanical maintenance lunchroom, again with a large medical bag with oxygen, the coal unloading control room, the mobile maintenance shop, and the warehouse, which has a first aid kit only. Eye-wash safety showers are located throughout the TS Power Plant. Eye-wash safety showers shall be used in the event you get chemicals sprayed or splashed on you. Once you begin washing your eyes out or your body off, you should not stop for at least 15 minutes. Let the water wash away the chemical residue. Eye-wash safety showers alarm to the control room once they're activated. Help will be summoned to your location. Dry chemical ABC fire extinguishers of various sizes, 5, 10, 20, and 150 pounds, are located throughout the TS Power Plant. 20-pound carbon dioxide fire extinguishers are located in MCC and server rooms. In the event of fire, immediately notify the TS Power Plant control room and then use a fire extinguisher to attempt to extinguish the fire. If you do not feel comfortable doing this, wait for assistance if possible, or if the fire is too large, sound the fire alarm by pulling a fire alarm pull station as you exit the building. If the fire is outdoors or in an area that does not have a fire alarm, again, report the fire to the TS Power Plant control room. Upon hearing a fire alarm, all personnel must shut down their work and immediately evacuate the building. Each building has evacuation routes posted. However, if you're unsure, follow TS Power Plant personnel to the designated evacuation point. You must be accounted for, so please remain at the evacuation point until you're released by TS Power Plant supervision. Fire control water monitors are strategically placed around the TS Power Plant site and can be used in the event of a large fire. These monitors are capable of 4,000 gallons per minute with a range of 200 yards and are to be used only by trained TS Power Plant personnel. The coal handling system is protected by high-volume fire-water deluge systems from the coal unloading facility to the boiler building tripper deck. These deluge systems are activated by 190-degree Protecto wire systems, so caution must be used when doing hot work around the coal handling system. Other parts of the TS Power Plant are protected by fire water sprinkler systems in addition to heat and smoke detectors that alarm to the TS Power Plant control room. The boiler building is equipped with reel-mounted 1.5-inch fire hoses on every level. In the event you're injured and need medical treatment, emergency assistance can be obtained immediately by calling the following emergency phone numbers. Emergency assistance can also be obtained immediately by calling the TS Power Plant control room via the plant radio system or the Guytronics phone system. Reporting of accidents and incidents is extremely important at the TS Power Plant. All accidents and incidents shall be reported immediately. All accidents and incidents shall be reported to your direct supervisor, the TS Power Plant control room, the designated TS Power Plant representative, and the TS Power Plant safety manager. When calling for emergency assistance, tell the control room operator the following information: your name and employer, your location and work task, and the nature of the emergency. Then stay on the phone and await further instructions. At the TS Power Plant, our goal is to be accident-free, and while visiting our power plant, we appreciate your participation in helping us maintain this goal. We expect that your time here at the TS Power Plant will be safe and productive, keeping in mind that the single most important thing that we do here is to achieve our goal of every person going home safe and healthy every day. Whenever operating mobile equipment or vehicles at the TS Power Plant, you must be aware of your surroundings and follow all of the rules established for your safety. Accidents that involve vehicles and mobile equipment are a leading cause of death or injury in this country, and at the TSPP, the safe operation of equipment is a top priority. With that being said, please pay close attention to these mobile equipment operation guidelines. Whenever parking a vehicle or wheeled equipment, the engine will be shut off, the parking brake engaged, and the gear selector set in park for automatic transmissions or in first gear or reverse for manual transmissions. Heavy equipment shall be chocked or wheels placed in a parking ditch. When applicable, all accessories, such as forks or buckets, will also be lowered to the ground when the vehicle is unattended. When operating any vehicle or piece of mobile equipment, seat belts must be worn by all operators and passengers at the TS Power Plant, no exceptions. Horn signals shall be sounded before moving heavy equipment. Start the engine, honk one time, and wait 10 seconds before starting. Moving forward, honk 2 times, and wait 10 seconds before moving forward. Moving backward, honk 3 times and wait 10 seconds before moving in reverse. The purpose of these signals is to alert personnel that the equipment is starting or moving and allows the time needed to clear the area. Pedestrians have the right-of-way at the TS Power Plant at all times. Heavy equipment has the right-of-way over light vehicles except for emergency vehicles such as ambulances or fire trucks. However, never assume the right-of-way is yours. Always consider the fact that an approaching vehicle may not see you. Drive defensively and be prepared to stop at any time. Never operate a piece of mobile equipment unless you're properly trained and have documentation certifying that you're capable of safely operating that particular type and model of equipment. TS Power Plant equipment, forklifts, man lifts, scissor lifts, mobile cranes, and plant overhead cranes shall only be operated by qualified TS Power Plant employees, no exceptions. PRB coal is delivered to the TS Power Plant in 130-car trains by Union Pacific Railroad. Once the train is delivered, our coal yard employees handle coal unloading and unit train trip inspection prior to releasing the train back to Union Pacific. The coal yard supervisor shall be notified prior to any work in the coal yard. Never approach or work around the train without talking to the coal yard supervisor. Occasionally, remnants of explosives like blasting caps or detonation cord show up in the coal that's used to fuel the TS power plant. If you're working around the coal pile or with the coal handling system and you notice what appears to be explosive materials, do not handle the material. Immediately contact the TS power plant control room. They will dispatch a qualified person to assist you. All personnel on site must be aware of the chemicals or materials used in the areas where they're visiting or working. Material Safety Data Sheets, MSDSs, are available for all chemicals used at the TS power plant and are located in the TS power plant control room. Any chemicals that are brought on site by contractors or vendors shall be accompanied by an MSDS, and the chemical shall not be used at the TS power plant prior to full approval by management. Any chemicals brought on site by contractors or vendors shall be removed by the contractor or vendor at the completion of their work. Chemicals shall be stored in appropriate containers and storage cabinets when not in use. Flammable products shall be stored in and returned to flammable storage cabinets when not in use. The NFPA diamond is used to label chemicals at the TS power plant. The blue diamond is used for health hazard, 0 to 4, with 4 being most hazardous. The red diamond is used for fire hazard, 0 to 4, with 4 being most hazardous. The yellow diamond is used for reactivity hazard, 0 to 4, with 4 being most hazardous. The white diamond is used for the special hazard symbol. Hazardous chemicals and materials used or produced at the TS power plant include powder river basin coal, hydrogen, sulfuric acid, sodium hydroxide, aqueous ammonia, gasoline and diesel fuel, sodium hypochlorite, and fly ash, which contains trace amounts of arsenic and mercury. If you're delivering bulk chemicals to the TS power plant, notify plant operations. Plant operations will then escort you to the appropriate unloading area, verify the proper product, and complete the TS power plant safe work permit prior to unloading. It's your responsibility to wear appropriate PPE, use grounds as needed, chock the wheels of your truck, verify connection integrity prior to product transfer, inspect for leaks, and remain alert during unloading. When working at the TS power plant, please work smarter, not harder. We have many tools to make handling equipment, materials, and supplies easier, such as hand carts, chain hoists, chain come-alongs, tool carts, cylinder dollies, forklifts, cranes, hoists, and pallet jacks. Please save your back and use these tools to make your work easier and more productive. When working at the TS power plant, make sure tools and equipment are in good condition and use the right tools for the job. Do not use damaged tools or equipment. If a tool or equipment is damaged, make sure it's tagged out with the red Danger Do Not Use or Operate tag. Danger and caution tags may be found in the TS power plant control room. Do not use cheater bars. Make sure that portable electrical tools are double insulated and use GFCI protected extension cords. Use extension cords that are rated for the required electrical amperage and are also the correct wire gauge for the extension cord length. Longer length extension cords require a larger wire gauge to reduce electrical voltage drop. Compressed gases are used throughout the TS power plant for many different purposes, such as cutting and welding. Compressed gas cylinders shall be properly stored, standing vertical, not lying down, and secured at all times. Compressed gas cylinders shall not be transported or moved without the valve protection caps in place. Cylinder carts shall be used to transport compressed gas cylinders. Oxidizers and flammable gases shall be stored separately. It's a requirement when working at the TS Power Plant to maintain a neat, clean work area. Keep trash cleaned up, cords and hoses out of the way when in use, cords and hoses rolled up when not in use, tools clean and neatly organized, tools, supplies, and materials neatly organized and out of walkways. Sweep or vacuum at the end of shift and remove garbage from the work area daily. Again, it's your responsibility to keep the work area clean and organized. The signs at the TS Power Plant were installed to relay important information to everyone working or visiting the plant. Signs are used to identify the various buildings at the TS Power Plant, to simplify directions to work areas, to improve emergency response, and to improve communication. Signs also relay information about specific hazards in the plant and across the plant site. Please take the time to recognize and review the important information provided by signs in your work area. Throughout the TS Power Plant, machinery guards, floor gratings, and handrails are used to protect everyone working here from hazards in the work area. Prior to removal of any machinery guards, floor gratings, and handrails, a Safe Work Permit, or SWP, shall be completed, and the TS Power Plant shift supervisor shall be consulted. It is critical that when machinery guards, floor gratings, or handrails are removed, that the area shall be barricaded to prevent others from entering the area. When any work requiring the removal of machinery guards, floor gratings, and handrails is completed, the removed components shall be replaced immediately. Barricades with descriptive placards shall be erected to control access when hazards exist in working areas. Placards hung on barricades shall include a description of the hazard, location and equipment, supervisor name, date, and time. Red barricade tape shall be used to prevent access to areas with uncontrolled hazards such as steam leaks, where overhead work, welding and cutting, hoist of materials or equipment is underway, where handrails have been removed, or other hazardous conditions exist. Red barricade tape shall not be crossed without discussion and express approval of the supervisor in control of the area or work task. Yellow barricade tape shall be used to prevent access to areas where hazards such as water leaks, wet slippery floors, spilled bulk materials, maintenance work areas, tripping hazards, or other conditions exist. Yellow barricade tape may be crossed after reviewing the descriptive placard information, but ask yourself, do I really need to enter this area? Assess the hazard and determine if the controls are adequate, and finally ask yourself, is this safe? Do not hesitate to call the TS Power Plant personnel for assistance prior to entering an area barricaded with yellow barricade tape. Electrical energy at the TS Power Plant varies from 24-volt DC control power to 120 kilovolt AC line power. Any work on electrical equipment or entry into MCC switchgear rooms is prohibited except by trained, qualified personnel. Electrical equipment may only be operated and maintained by qualified and authorized personnel. Various work control processes are used to manage all the work at the TS Power Plant. Due to the complex nature of the modern coal-fired power plant, it's imperative that work control processes be followed to the letter to ensure your safety as well as the safety of everyone working at the TS Power Plant. All work control process assistance and associated permits may be obtained in the TS Power Plant control room prior to the start of any work. Please understand that requests for work control permits may take considerable time to prepare. Therefore, request assistance early and have patience. It is for your safety. Plant operations has the final say on all work control processes. Violation of any work control process at the TS Power Plant may result in your immediate and permanent expulsion from the TS Power Plant. A safe work permit is a tool that assures communication between plant operations and any maintenance work in the plant. A plant operator will conduct a job walk with you and discuss all aspects of the work to be done, including limitations to the scope of work, special hazards in the work area, safety equipment required, verification of safety training, additional work control process requirements, energy isolation or lockout-tagout, hot work, confined space, housekeeping, and job completion requirements. A lockout-tagout or LOTO is energy isolation, and all energy sources, regardless of magnitude, shall be isolated so that no one is exposed to hazardous energy while working on equipment. Plant Operations manages all LOTO processes and will not authorize work on any equipment until the LOTO clearance is completed. All energy sources are isolated, locks and tags are hung, redundant verification is completed, and affected systems are walked down with affected individuals. Everyone involved in work on equipment under a LOTO clearance shall be signed onto the LOTO clearance with a personal padlock hung on the LOTO lockbox in the TS Power Plant control room. A confined space entry permit. Anytime that a confined space is entered at the TS Power Plant, a confined space entry permit is required regardless of the reason for entry or of the time required to enter the space. Entry into confined spaces requires evaluation for safety hazards, including engulfment, entrapment, a hazardous atmosphere, and any other recognized health or safety hazards. Industrial scientific ITX gas monitors are used to check for hazardous atmospheres in confined spaces. Once confined space hazards are addressed, operations will issue a confined space entry permit, confined space attendant forms, and provide for confined space rescue. It's imperative that all confined space workers follow confined space procedures to the letter. A hot work permit is required any time that maintenance work produces increased temperatures, sparks, open flames, or an ignition source. The Safe Work Permit has a section to address hot work and all requirements such as fire watch, atmospheric testing, and other controls. An excavation permit is required any time that excavation is needed to facilitate maintenance or construction work. Prior to issuing an excavation permit, Plant Operations will determine if underground utilities present a potential hazard and if additional controls are needed to safely conduct the excavation work. All spills, whether liquid or solid, shall be reported to the TS Power Plant control room. All spills shall be contained and cleaned up. Please contact the TS Power Plant control room for assistance with disposal, containment, labeling, storage, or cleanup of any material on site. Large spill kits in yellow overpack drums are located throughout the TS Power Plant, in addition to various absorbent materials stored in the warehouse. Used oil shall be properly stored in labeled containers in the used oil storage containment. Oily waste, rags, absorbent materials, and floor dry shall not be tossed into trash dumpsters. It shall be taken to the oily waste dumpster by the used oil storage containment. Aerosol cans shall be punctured prior to disposal in trash dumpsters. Please use the aerosol can punch by the TSPP maintenance shop. Although the TS Power Plant is a large industrial facility producing electrical power for Nevada's gold mines and a workplace for 65 DTE employees, it has also become home to a variety of northern Nevada critters. When working at the TS Power Plant, you may encounter spiders, scorpions, snakes, birds, badgers, and other wildlife. Although the facility is sprayed regularly for insects, please use gloves and long sleeves, sweep or wash areas, and be cautious when working in dark corners and undisturbed areas that insects like to inhabit. Do not feed the wildlife, and keep garbage under control in closed cans. Do not harass or trap wildlife. If you encounter various wildlife and are uncertain what to do, please contact the TS Power Plant Control Room for assistance. As we stated at the beginning of this TS Power Plant safety orientation video, we believe that all occupational injuries and illnesses, property damage, loss of process, and harm to the environment can be prevented. Each of you must perform your job in the safest manner possible, follow safety rules 100% of the time, and conduct yourself in a way that enhances your own personal safety and that of your fellow workers. Reporting all accidents and incidents, in addition to correcting and making suggestions for the control of workplace hazards, will contribute to the overall success of our safety program. Remember, your contribution is vital to our operation, and we want your visit here to be safe and productive.